Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
Let's take a look here real quick at our player rankings for our sleepers for 2010. Again, there's going to be varying degrees of what a sleeper is. You know, for example, last year, two of the top running back sleepers that we had for people to take was Ray Rice and Cedric Benson. We actually did like Cedric going into that season, and the reason we did like him is mainly because he was projected to come out and be a feature back on that team, and I just kept maintaining, even though it's the Bengals and even though it's Cedric, Cedric did show a little bit of life the year before at the very end, but there's just not that many guys that are feature guys in the NFL anymore, and so that holds value in and of itself. Didn't think he'd have as good, at least of a first half, as he had. He had a really nice first half of the season until he had the hip injury, but you know, there you go. That was some of our sleepers. So some of these people on this board, I do want to say, are guys that, you know, you're going to be starting right away when they're getting drafted. For example, Ryan Matthews, Noshawn Moreno, Felix Jones, Eli Manning per se. Even Kevin Kolb, he's a trendy. Joe Flacco, they're very trendy sleepers this year, and we do believe that they're going to have success for you. I like John Carlson at tight end, and so we have them in all the main 7 categories for a standard league that we have here. We also have a different spot you'll see that says deep, and that's a deep sleeper, and so those type of guys, are especially those guys, are guys that I wouldn't necessarily recommend. If you do draft them, you draft them at the very end of your draft, if at all, but they're guys that you need to keep on top of, keep an eye on, keep familiar at least with those names and what they may do. I have Devin Aromashodu. Here's a guy that was getting a lot of pub early this offseason, and even Devin Thomas. I have them as deep sleepers now because I'm just not seeing. Devin is not winning a starting job with the Bears right now, and it looks more and more like Johnny Knox is going to win that job. And with Devin Thomas, I'm just not seeing much getting done there, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Redskins maybe take a stab at actually signing a Terrell Owens, or even going out and maybe getting a Vincent Jackson, doing something there. If these young guys, a Malcolm Kelly, a Devin Thomas, if they fail to impress here, then there's going to be a big problem there. Look at a guy like LaDainian Tomlinson as a deep sleeper. A lot of people are shooing LaDainian off to the side. I am seeing him getting drafted deep in drafts, so that's good to see. But at the same time, with a guy like Tomlinson, I don't know that I'd recommend you draft him. But he's one of those guys that is Sean Green. As we get into about the middle of the season, remember, Sean has never started a full NFL season or anything. So we need to see how he can play, and there's a good chance he may not last the full season. He may break down. If Tomlinson should have fresh legs as we get into the second half of the season, he could put together a run. Maybe not as good as a Ricky Williams last year, but he could definitely be a serviceable player. Remember, even last year when he was with the Chargers, when he was obviously the starter, he was worth having on your fantasy roster and starting as a flex play option. Definitely does a good nose for the end zone, and on that team, he would be a productive player. So keep those things in mind. And so here we go. Take a look at some of these names. Familiarize yourself with them. You keep in mind some of these guys that are here, obviously, because these are names that right now they may only hold so much value on even your draft board. But just remember that these guys, we feel, have the ability to be more than maybe what their fantasy value suggests they could be right now. And once again, we just want to let you know that if you're listening to this out there on the internet, maybe on YouTube for a video, we've got this, what we're talking about here, available for you. There's a link. It should be a link at the bottom of where this video is at, right underneath the text. And you can click on that link. You can go over and you can download this information that we're talking about. You can print it out for yourself to use at your draft. We have that available for you. And if you're also listening to this on a podcast, maybe like Podbean, Media, any one of those, Blueberry, any of those type of places, that should also be incorporated. There should be an article with this as well, and there should be some type of link there for you to get back to the specific page that we're talking about for this cheat sheet or mock draft that we happen to be talking to you about right now. Good luck this season, and we hope that this information helps you have success.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy football with your